Hello there, international movie friends, and welcome to a new To Watch or Not to Watch video. In To Watch or Not to Watch, we take a look at a movie, series, or documentaries that we've seen, and we let you know if we think it's worth watching or not. And afterwards, we have a little discussion with each other about this. So if you're interested in this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give us a little like if you liked this video, of course. Then we will now get to the topic of today's video, and that's the German Netflix original series Tribes of Europa, a dystopian story, quite a big budget production from Netflix. We already reacted to the trailer before. We were intrigued, also had some questions about it. In this video, we will tell you if we think this series delivered. So, Tribes of Europa, to watch or not to watch? That's the question. Guys, we watched Tribes of Europa. Before we get to our mini reviews and afterwards discussion, I always like to know what your expectations were up front. Sven, with what expectations did you go into this series?
Really low expectations. I thought this is not going to be a series for me. I was not captivated by the trailer. I thought this is another random potpourri from Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and all this, Game of Thrones kind of series I rarely watch.
Name the three legends, but okay, yeah.
Okay, that's true.
A discussion for later. Koen, how did you go into it?
Actually, a little bit unknown. I was curious because it was the producers of Dark, the show we reviewed on this channel and we loved. So I was quite curious and interested, but also at the same time, I saw a lot of things that I was like, hey, I'm not so sure with the swords and the tribesmen now in 2000 something.
We talked about it. Yeah.
I was a bit like, I was curious at least. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, it's I had a bit the same. I was a bit afraid of the consistency, the tone consistency, so to say, that it might be a bit all over the place, this series. So that's how I went into it, not with too high expectations, but at the same time also a bit excited for it, because I thought like, this could be something. But now we're gonna find out what we actually thought about it. Sven, may I give you the stage first?
Of course. Tribes of Europa, to watch or not to watch? For me, to watch. A really modern way of storytelling is what I really found good about this series. You see a realistic and actual emotions told in a sci-fi set where people are divided in groups that could be a warning for the EU as far as we know it now. In which you could see maybe a hidden statement from the makers, like stay together as a union, otherwise we fall apart and we go back to swords and knives. I do like how they built these different groups, the Crows, the Crimson, the Origines, with their habits, their values, their tastes. So you had like different music with the Crows, like this more club, techno, deep house. And you had the Crimson people who are the idealists, European idealists, and living in a multicultural society. And the Origines were the, you can call them the close to nature kind of hippies. The strong, smart, and powerful characters in this series are mostly female, and I found that one of the most surprising and strongest part. If you have to name a scene that was an example for this, it was definitely the rape scene. For me, as far as I know, the first ever rape scene where a woman rapes a man. A weak spot I would like to point out is you could see they make sometimes a caricature in the beginning of some characters, and you see some pathetic side, maybe a more American way of doing series, and that they seem to be influenced by that. When you have a really trained eye for watching series, I could really expect how the story would move on and how the characters would react to different situations, but it didn't bother me actually, because I watched it on Saturday evening, and for a Saturday evening, it's a definitely easy one to binge. It was entertainment, it brought me to a different world. Overall, it was captivating, exciting, and as I said, quite easy to binge. So, to watch, Tribes of Europe.
Tribes of Europa. To watch or not to watch? If you want to see the same forest used in the rain, in the 100, in Dark, I think they use all the same forest setting somehow, so that really annoyed me. I really struggled to watch the first episode and finish it. I had to stop twice, and I didn't finish more than the first episode. And the main reasons for me why I also won't see the rest of the show, and I will tell you to skip it, in my opinion, of course, is because it's a mixture of Mad Max, The 100, The Rain, so many other Netflix shows that are all post-apocalyptic with some big events, Black December. It was just, for me, very boring to watch, very over the top with the crows, with the woman with the... It was just, I don't know. I really felt like they just watched 5 shows before, they wrote the script down, and that was it. So I was very bored, not interested. I would say skip it.
Tribes of Europa, to watch or not to watch? That is the question. So, okay, here's when you should not watch this series. If you have seen The 100, Hunger Games, Divergent, or other dystopian future stories, and you had enough of that kind of stuff, you better not watch this, because you won't find anything new in here. Tribes of Europa is by all means not an original series, despite it being a Netflix original series. But if you are known with the genre, there's nothing new here for you. But that doesn't mean it has to stop you from watching Tribes of Europa, because what it does pretty well for my sake. Especially the world building is quite impressive. The production design is very well done. The different tribes are thought through, and there is quite some attention to detail. That makes that you will find yourself pretty quickly immersed into the world of Tribes of Europa. The first episode, I had a bit of doubts because there was a lot of exposition in it, but that is maybe the logic result of this series only being 6 episodes in the first season, so they had to fill you in pretty fast on everything that's going on in that world so you could jump onto the ride for the next 5 episodes. And that's what I found myself willing to do. I found myself willing to jump on that train for the next 5. And with each episode, I think it became more fun. I really wanted to find out what was going on, what was happening. Based on the trailer, like said, I was afraid that this series might have difficulty finding a consistent tone. But in the end, I think they found a tone that was consistent. It might have been a bit too much popcorn flavored to my sake. When it comes to dystopian stories, I always like it when there's a bit more room for philosophical concepts. And they, well, lightly touched on this, but it was not really that it was built on it. And that was for me, which makes it for me not really elevate to a higher level. So yeah, in the end, it has nothing new to offer, but it's fun, it's compelling, the production design is impressive, the female lead is convincing for my sake. So I have no doubt that I will return to the series for a second season. It was a bit over the top for me, that's for sure, but in the end, Tribes of Europa, to watch or not to watch, my answer would be to watch. All right, guys, here we have it. We have another discussion on our hands, I think.
Why is it always me?
Koen became the hater.
I became the cringe. I took Sven's role, yeah.
Koen is going through some things in his life, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you guys are soft. Sven is softened up. I don't know how.
Soft? Why? What's soft about this?
Softened up. Like, literally, I told you before, my girlfriend said she didn't want to finish the first episode, and I told her that Sven binged it. She's like, how did Sven binge this show? So,
well, I do think because of course, Koen, you and I, this is more a genre that we are known with and that we quite saw a lot of.
Yeah.
So I think for someone that didn't see so much yet, I love this genre. So I get that if you haven't seen so much, it's fun to see this. If this would be the only show that I saw, I would be very enthusiastic about it. But just because I've saw already a lot of them, I feel like, it's just fun, but it's nothing new to me. But for Sven, I guess it was.
Of course. Yeah.
Right, Sven?
Yeah, quite more new. I'm not watching a lot of things out of this genre, a lot of series in this genre, that's true. On the other hand, I could also see it doesn't have all these layers you mentioned, Bas, in your review. I found it really interesting what you said, because I also did miss them, and it also really, it comes to the moment you're gonna watch and what you're into. And what your expectations are. And as I said, my expectations were low. I was in for something without thinking too much, but offering enough to take me on a ride, and they took it. And it was also not long enough, like 6 episodes. Yeah, quite nice. And it evolved, and some characters were really worked out really well, I think. And and I really like this. Well, the female lead, as you named it, and how I explained also.
Katniss.
I found it well, kind of fresh, new, modern. That how they dealt with the nowadays morality.
Yeah, I have to say, but that's maybe also then because I already saw more in this genre. Lately, the female lead in these kind of series, especially sci-fi, is quite common with Hunger Games, with Jennifer Lawrence, with Rey, Daisy Ridley in Star Wars, The 100. You have also this strong... So for me, that was not a surprise anymore. But I did find her character and how she played it very nice. But I had at some point a bit the same trouble as I had with Biohackers, where... she was most realistic in her tones, and other characters were very much over the top. And for my sake, it can be a bit more balanced out, that everybody is a bit more realistic. But it's, which I had with Biohackers, like how serious do you take your own show? Yeah. That's what I had a bit here also at times, but not that it bothered me too much. But Koen, you were really put off with the first episode. I do get, by the way, your critique of this first episode, because the first episode was for me also not the best.
Weakest. But was the weakest.
Exactly.
And I was also... I was after 1.5 hour, I thought, okay, after 20 minutes, I thought, my God, what's this? Of course, well, I have to watch this from the guys, you know? And then... Then there was also the turning point coming, and it got better, and I thought, okay, let's give it a try.
The first episode got better also, you thought?
Yeah, I think halfway the first episode got better.
Over the top killing with the swords and that shit. I was like, why it has to be so gruesome?
Brutal. I agree.
That's a bit from the Game of Thrones playbook, of course. Yeah,
it was a bit too brutal. I agree, but they explained that later. What was the story behind that?
It made sense because I stopped watching. I really didn't like it, and I watched Game of Thrones again, and it was one of the most brutal scenes that I saw. But there, it made sense. And I even enjoyed it. You know, it didn't feel like it made sense at all here.
Well, the explanation for it came later, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I do think it makes sense. Why doesn't it make sense in Game of Thrones? Why do they show it? Because they want to portray this world which is without laws and where humans became beasts, so to say. That's in Game of Thrones, and that's what they wanted to do here also. That's also at the same time a bit my trouble with it, because I've seen that too many times, this dystopian world where humanity fell into beast behavior more or less, and lawlessness, and I like a bit more the positive side maybe, and the philosophical tones of humans instead of just the easy out, like humans are beasts when everything else falls away. But so I did think it served a function, this brutality in the series. But I would recommend Koen to take another one. I think the first episode was very, like I said, a lot of exposition. So they really want to, this is the crows, this is what happened, and blah, blah. And it was too much because it took you out of the story right away. Like, come on, I get it. You want to explain everything. But they stopped doing that from the second episode on.
Yeah, so that's not, I already figured that out a bit. So I thought, okay, let's just see where it goes. But I felt there were so many elements stolen from other movies. I don't even know from what movies anymore. But like the thing with the falling out of the sky, the guy that is like dying and then he gives a cube. I think there are like 5 movies or series with this stuff.
Yes, and Mad Max, as you named also the guy. What was his name? The actor.
Yeah.
Was really
exactly, with the car.
You
get to that level. But imagine, and the girl was Katniss Everdeen from Hunger Games, of course, with the bow, and I don't know. It just also that guy on the heels with that, like the upper warlord of the crows. That scene I already felt like.
I didn't like him though.
No, he was a bit overdone, right?
That's also German techno style that you see in Berlin maybe a bit. So maybe that's something that I just don't like, but it can be good, of course. It's just a style change that I don't like. But for me, it just the weird thing is I don't even know. There are not a lot of things that I can pin out. Actually, nothing that I thought, that was really bad. The acting didn't seem bad. It all seemed okay actually, but it was just like. It didn't get to me at all. Didn't want to take me to the second episode. And I watched a lot of shitty shows in my day, trust me. So, for me it was so bad that I really thought I don't want to watch the show anymore.
But it wasn't bad. Like you said, you can pinpoint.
No, I cannot pinpoint.
Maybe you just so you use the word bad then a bit too freely. I think you can just maybe say that you've seen too many of these series, like I also had, and by that you were not pulled in.
Yeah, so nothing was, the acting wasn't bad, the shots, the locations, everything seemed okay, but The problem I had is the forest. I felt like every show has the same forest. Like the rain, the 100, the Hunger Games start the same with the forest, with hunting. It's all this. I felt like it was too much of the same. And the only thing that was not critiqued, because maybe it's explained, but I didn't understand it. Like, why are they talking to each other in English while they all speak German? So like do you understand me? Then they speak German again. I was like, okay, does it get explained to you guys or?
Well, it is of course tribes of Europa. So it is the people of Europa got shattered. So you might think like, okay, some speak English, some tribes come from England, originate from England, for example, and they came to Berlin. So that I can, for me, it wasn't necessary that they did it. And I was thinking at one point, like, okay, if you put English in the mix, I think you should expand on it and also put Spanish in the mix and those kind of things instead of just have English and you. Did they?
The last scene of the 6th episode was Hola chica, ¿cómo estás? That was the famine.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good then, because
and there was Italian music in the car of the Lonely Wolf, the guy, the technician. I forgot his name.
So for me it was also okay to stay in English, but in German, but okay.
I found it really funny or ironic that the English chef, the father of Crimson, was the greatest idealist of the European Union and coming together and shaking hands and we should be one. You know, I find it really ironic.
Yeah. Well, it is funny. Funny, of course.
It's ironic.
Yeah, of course. But that's also what he based it on, of course. The writer Philip Koch, he said he started writing this script after Brexit. That's how he got his inspiration. So it makes sense.
Great. No, but I have 2 questions for you. What were you thinking about these pathetic elements when it comes to a German production? And B, what were you thinking about this raping scene? Well, how did you watch
what do you mean with pathetic elements?
Well, sometimes with this mostly with the main character, the girl, and her this love affair she had with this Crimson guy.
I didn't buy that. No, but that's what I mean. I think in quite some scenes or setups they were a bit too. Well, also what like you said, cliched, maybe too much. Also, like you said, Sven, going the American way. I would have liked if they stayed a bit close. Yeah, maybe thinking that that's how you should tell a story like this. But what I liked about Dark is that they really did it this time travel, manipulation story in a Nordic noir style almost, and much more realistic than it would have been done in the US. And that's what I loved about Dark. Yeah. And I would have loved to see a German take on a story like this also. And that's maybe what I.
Yeah, because it lost a bit of an authenticity, I think, with choosing this path.
I think they chose for this, I think, because it's shown all over the world on Netflix now. I think they maybe Netflix pushed them, or they chose. Yeah, but Dark was maybe they had more artistic freedom, maybe.
Yeah, that could be.
Or that maybe the makers of this actually really thought we want to make it a bit more Hollywood-like.
Can also be. Can also be, of course. So, but for me in the end, it didn't. Like you also said, Sven, it didn't bother me in the end. Oh, you had also the rape question.
Yeah, I found that quite. I don't know. Exciting. And then I got the question from my wife that she barely can watch rape scenes. Because 99 out of 100 it's a woman being raped by a man. I think I haven't seen this before. The other way around.
You have. GoldenEye.
Oh yeah.
Where Van Beyonce tries to rape Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, tries.
It's not really raping. It's It's different.
There's no sex happening. No.
Yeah. But I was not. I was left a bit untouched. But I was, I think, untouched with all the brutalities, and that's what Koen touched on. It's another trick from the playbook, and because I see that trick, then it's like with magic. If you see the trick, you're not amazed anymore. Yeah. So that's what I had with all the brutality scenes. Like, okay, yeah, you're doing that, sure.
Yeah, okay, but for me, I think there was brutality and there was this scene. I think this scene was for me standing different than for somebody who's cutting his throat, because that's what I've seen a lot of times. But this scene I haven't seen before, and I think I found it a quiet decision of the scriptwriters to do it like this, and I think it's also an interesting case how people experience this, and if it would have been different the other way around, because interesting case.
It made an impact on you.
No, not negatively. I found it actually.
It did something with you.
Positively,
You were surprised it's weird to say in a good way, but this kind of scenes. But yeah,
I was surprised that they chose to do it, and it was really spelled out. And B,
by the way, Sven,
I found it exciting actually to watch in some way, and I think that's really different the other way around, which I can totally imagine.
We did. All three of us saw a raping scene done by a man, by a woman to a man, Lovecraft Country, with the heel. Remember? Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True.
That was as brutal as that or not?
There did have trouble with it, but that was for other reasons.
Lovecraft Country was much more brutal. Yeah, it was much more brutal. Okay. This was more power play, I think. A mental power play. Yeah.
Okay.
But for me, Koen, I would recommend trying a second episode.
I'll try.
It's not a flawless series, that's for sure, but I found it entertaining, and I will tune in for season 2 at least. I would like to hear also from the people watching what they thought about it. Let us know in the comments, the things we discussed about here, what you think about those scenes and things in the series, and what you thought overall of this series, and if you will return for season 2, all those kind of things we would like to hear from you. Don't forget to give us a like if you liked what we did here. And, of course, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Then I would say now, from Sweden, hej då!